Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Saylorville Students' Hot Ones. This is a parody of the YouTube show Hot Ones, and I'm joined by a very special guest today, Douglas Porter. Doug is the tech manager here at Saylorville. He's also a semi-professional storm chaser, and he's bald. So give a hand wherever you are for Doug Porter. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Before we dive into the questions and the wings, how do you do with spicy food?
Well, I think I don't like really spicy food, but everyone I talk to is like, you love spicy food. So I don't like spice on the tongue, you know? So I'm a food connoisseur, so like there's all kinds of spice and there's all kinds of taste. So spicy on the tip of the tongue, like that buffalo, you know, parm that you get at Jethro's is like, that's hot. But then I can do like throat hot all day long. It just doesn't bother me. So we'll see.
Really?
We'll see.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was called a geographical tongue, but it's called something else, where I basically have like all kinds of like grooves in my tongue. I don't have a smooth tongue, so there's more surface area. So then that means that you're getting more spice. So, but you're also getting more taste. So
there you
it's
go.
all right with me. We'll see.
So you have a genetically superior tongue.
I think I do.
For food, for eating.
Yeah.
Which is what tongues are for.
That's true, that's true.
Superior already in every way. Well, looking forward to just weeping over here by myself while Doug just sits coolly over off to the side. So for those of you who haven't watched Hot Ones before, what we're going to do is we're going to start at this end of the board and work our way down, and the sauces will get progressively spicier as we go. So we're going to start with just a classic hot sauce by Headless, and it's fairly mild, nothing too crazy. So, but maybe if it's right on the tip of the tongue, maybe it'll be too much for you.
It might be too much.
So,
all right.
Give it a bite. Tell us what you think.
So first of all, yeah, that's fine. I hate eating chicken off the bone. I always get like boneless everything.
Maybe I should have gotten boneless wings for you.
There's all the gristle and all the weird stuff. My dad always used to like take them off my plate and just like suck the bone dry and eat all the ends off of it, and there was just like a tiny bone left. And I basically ate like a tiny piece.
Well, one thing that you're known for a lot here at Saylorville is that you're one of our many motorcycle enthusiasts. You're one of our bikers here at Saylorville. But maybe some people don't know that you used to work at a used car lot, and you were also a bit of a truck enthusiast as well. Oh. So tell us about your Chevy Avalanche and anything that car has taught you over the years.
Boom!
Whoa!
I may have prepared a slide for you.
Looks beautiful.
So the story is I grew up with my grandparents, going to car shows all the time, and once I got older, I was working at the car lot and I didn't have really anything to pay for. I was wasting all my money partying and doing stupid stuff. And so I was like, oh, we'll go buy a new car. And this is actually, I think this might be the second one I had. So when they came out in 2002, I special ordered mine, and it came, and it actually came right before September 11th, and I almost returned it because of that whole gas price thing and whatever. So anyways, then I traded it in for the 2003 because there was better stuff, and I did that. And then I got to the point of, like you need to get married and have kids and like buy a house, and I was quite in debt. And so we actually sold it quickly at the auction because after September 11th, we closed the car lot because of used car sales were down and 0% financing for new cars. And so we sold it, dumped it. I was in debt. I had basically a loan for like 5 to 8 years or something like that, where I just paid on nothing because I owed the difference, and learned a huge lesson to not buy new cars at a young age. And then I've given that advice to many of other young adults around here. I've even had one like go and resell their car and downgrade and stuff like that. So yeah, so now my cars are paid off. I drive 2005s.
Excellent. So for all you students out there who are maybe going to college, you're starting to think about what your first car is going to be. I mean, some of you already have a car that maybe you bought, probably used already, but maybe avoid the brand new cars.
Yeah, I went from this to a Plymouth Neon, a purple one.
Do you have a photo of that?
I don't. I mean, I probably do, but I don't have it available. But yeah, it was humbling. Let's put it that way. It was lowered too. It was like lowered rims, had every single option. I went through at the dealership and picked everything, and it was just like, it was an idol, obviously. I mean, so.
Tricked out. Is this edited, or was it that shiny?
Oh no, it was that, yeah, chromed out.
Look at
Subs
that.
in the back, had a laptop mounted in the front.
Man, I wish you still had that. We could go cruising.
Yeah, you can go on my motorcycle with me.
Just hug you from behind.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to wing number 2 here. This is the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Pineapple Habanero flavor. Quite scrumptious, if I do say so myself.
That sounds good. I like pineapple on my pizza, so. Habanero, though, that's a spice. I know that.
It is, but I think
You just take 2 bites or 1 or whatever you want?
You can take whatever you want. If you like it, have the whole wing. Might be kind of hard to talk to.
See, now, for some reason, the first one seems hotter. This doesn't seem that bad at all. Because I think this is more of a throat hot, or maybe lip hot.
Might be.
My tongue's totally fine, so.
Might be. This one, it's more pineapple than habanero, I think. Jared disagreed with me.
Well,
although,
did you see Jared's mom try this? I mean, I think he got his mom's blood on that one. So.
Well, his mom only actually tried the very hottest one. So.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay, I take it back.
Anyway, so you've been working at Saylorville now for 13 years, and I think you were part-time or interning or something a little bit before that too.
Yep,
so, when was the moment that you knew first that you wanted to work with technology, and then how did you decide that you wanted to work here at Saylorville, and kind of what was that thought process like?
Yeah, so I was coming here as like a single. I wasn't a student. But there's me serving the first time. Under Lucas Bear, he was running the college ministry. Look, I had hair.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. And Lucas Bear was needed to pull a trailer up to camp up at Clear Lake because Trent Smith, who was our music guy at the time, was leading music up there, and they needed all the equipment and all that kind of stuff. And he knew I had a truck, the truck that we previously talked about. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever for ministry, because at that point my life had changed or whatever. And so I was married. Brooke and I went up and helped them haul it up there, and he's like, do you know how to hook up any of this stuff, or like, can you help? And I just didn't scare me at all. I played with technology since I was a little kid and always had a computer and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually that weekend at camp. I don't know who or how I got that picture, but that's the first time I served, and that's when I started realizing God had prepared me through my life, through all the different technology that I had learned, sound I like to mess with, just anything that had to do with technology, I was always messing around with it. Even as a car dealer, I was like doing car stereo stuff and whatever. So then I just started using my own equipment to help serve the college ministry. Then when this room was remodeled, I helped work in the sound room, and then eventually Pastor asked me to come on staff in 2007. 6 or 7.
It was just a no-brainer for you at that point then.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, this job wasn't a job before at Saylorville. So it wasn't like, hey, I want to be the next, so-and-so. I mean, Chris Schrock, he's our head deacon, was over the sound room back then. So it was kind of like an idea of like, hey, this could be a job. There's lights, and there's sound, and there's internet, and there's this and that. And I kind of went to the pastors and was like, hey, this might be a good idea for you guys to get. I'd love to do it, but if not, find somebody. Then I moved away. A couple other volunteers moved away, and then they're like, okay, we need one person over all of this. So that's where it started. Yeah, that's how it started.
So you, not only have you been here a really long time, but you were the first full-time sound guy.
That's true.
At Saylorville.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been here since I was born.
What a legacy.
High school. Yeah.
Well, as we move on to the Tamale Pekka sweet tamarind and smoky chili hot sauce.
That is a name.
It is a name, and it is quite scrumptious, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
It's.
I want to take like the spicy side.
Starch sweet, and then kind of has a little zip after that.
Yep, that's in the throat. It's good.
For me, it's throat and mouth. And my lips are starting to tingle a bit too.
I can tell the sweat's starting to come.
Well, we're only on number 3, so.
I cranked the air down a little bit.
Perks of being the tech guy.
Right from the phone.
So, in addition to being a tech guy, you have also been a storm chaser. Although you probably didn't get paid.
Not a paid storm chaser. Not a paid storm chaser.
But you told me how you enjoyed chasing tornadoes and storms across the Great Plains of Iowa. And one particular storm that you didn't really have to chase, it was just coming straight for your house anyway. Tell us about that storm and any other great tornado stories you have for us.
Yeah. So I used to chase storms. That was after high school. Basically, I worked at the car lot, and you know the stories of car salesmen. They sit around and have nothing to do a lot of times. So there's plenty of times it'd be like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, especially when it's storming. People don't want to look at cars. It's raining and stuff. And I'd be always interested in storms, so I would end up finding a friend and running out chasing storms at the end of the night, because that's when they always kind of come around here. That's a picture of the best one ever. That's an old picture, early 2000s probably, but over State of the Lake. I was chasing one out there, and
that is quite large,
and had to run from it. But the worst one was in high school, my senior year. I was driving to a Dairy Princess competition.
Dairy Princess competition.
Owatonna, Minnesota, from Rochester, Minnesota. So as we headed west, much about our storms. They come from the west. So I basically drove through a storm, saw a fireman on the side of the road. They were like, yeah, we're storm spotting. You need to get to Owatonna before the storm comes. Go as fast as you can. I was in my old muscle car with a friend, and we're just like, yeah, we just got permission to go as fast as we want. So we just like, out in the country, just going as fast as we want. The rain started hitting us, and we're just like, just like flying 100 miles an hour, whatever we were going. And we're talking, blah, 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 listening to the radio, trying to listen to the storm. And then I looked down and I was like, guess how fast we're going? And my friend's like, I don't know, 100. And I was like, 40. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, the wind's blowing so hard. And it's a big car, they called them a boat back then. And it was just like, the engine was revving that high, trying to go straight into the wind.
Wow.
And so we were just like, this is insane. And we got to the place. It was kind of dark at that point, and I didn't notice anything. I went to this thing and brought my friend home and came home really late at night. And I remember pulling in. We lived on a dead-end road, gravel road. I pulled in, and there was a couch in the road. And I was like, around the couch, because I always drive fast. And pull in the driveway, and I was like, oh, there's a couch. And what? That couch is up in the top of the garage in an office, and like, that's so weird. And pulled in, and the next thing I saw was my dad's truck, and like 4x4 post had come through the front windshield, through the steering wheel, through the seat, all the way to the gravel. And I have a
just
picture of it. I just
the
didn't
car?
bring it, but yeah, all the way through. And at that point, you're like, is my dad dead? And I was like, okay, there's no blood in the car. Like, what happened? And the storm I went through is like a tornado, and of course it's pitch black because there's no power. So I'm trying to like get into the house and open the doors, and like the double doors are blown open, and the curtains are all over the place, and the dishes are all, and the cupboard doors are all open, and I'm going through the house trying to find people. Like, it's like a movie, slow motion, and go through the whole house. I'm like, okay, are they in the basement hiding, and did they die, and like all of that, is going through your mind. So I finally get to a phone, which phone lines back then still worked without power. They ran on their own line. And so it's like Mickey Mouse phone, like, it's like forever, like going through. And anyways, I called the neighbor, and they were there. I couldn't talk because, I was so scared my voice wouldn't even work. They're like, they're here, they're okay, whatever. So it picked up our pole shed and just thrown it into our house. And it was an old farmhouse my dad had remodeled. So it was like very devastating. He had built a whole barn and shed, a shed and a garage, and had ripped the top of that off. And it was pretty insane.
Wow.
Lucky everyone lived and all that kind of stuff. And it's all put back together again, but
crazy.
Yeah, it was intense.
Before we move on to the next wing, I forgot to mention at the beginning that if you have other questions for Doug besides the ones that we're asking here, you can feel free to submit those online. We have my good friend Jared Leonard, who's manning the various chats and comments and all of that. And so if you want to submit your own question for Doug, you can feel free to do that, and we'll try to answer some of those as well. But in the meantime, let's move on to Los Calientes Rojo.
Calientes means hot, right?
Yes. It actually means the hot ones.
The hot ones. And what's the flavor? It's just hot?
It's got habaneros in it and smoked jalapenos.
Did I get the wrong side? Or does it really matter? Did you brush it all the way around?
I tried to get it all the way around, but sometimes the drumsticks are a little harder to get, so it's hard to get a solid coat on them without just dumping all of my sauce.
Jared's definitely right. You want to make sure you don't get on your lips, right? I mean, I can just feel the lips getting warm.
Yeah. The lips.
That one was not bad, though, at least so far.
It's got a great smoky flavor. So,
I can feel this coming again, though. I should probably just let it drip.
You should. That'd make for a great photo.
My wife
We could use it as the thumbnail.
My wife always is like, we're in a restaurant and I'm starting to sweat like that. And I'm like, honey, look, I'm sweating. And she's like, that's gross. Don't let people see that. She keeps me in line, you know.
You have a very smart wife.
Yeah, I do. She went to college, I didn't.
So you have been an Apple enthusiast for quite some time. How long?
Yeah.
Forever?
Nope. Well, the iPhone really got me going. And then, again, Lucas Bear again, he was our college guy at the time. Yeah, tongue's getting warm now. That feels good. When I came on staff, he was like, hey, the guys that were here before you were kind of like afraid of Apple, didn't know a lot about it. They were corporate guys, no big deal. But like, can I get an Apple laptop? And I was like, yeah, let's try it. I've always heard about that they're good or whatever. Like, they're expensive, but let's go try it. And so he got one, and I kind of like never heard from him again. Like, he made his own videos, he made his own PowerPoint, well, Keynote. He made his own stuff. He figured it all out, and I was like, oh, we all need these. Like, everybody needs this stuff. It just works, and it works together, and so yeah.
So you mentioned that the iPhone was one of the things that kind of spurred some of your love for Apple as well. You are old enough to, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when the iPhone came out, but any students that are watching, they have only known iPhones pretty much. When was the first iPhone that you ever got?
Yep.
And then tell us about, you created actually sort of was it a company? Was it just kind of a website that showed people how to do things with their iPhones, Apple iPhone School.
Yeah.
And tell us about that as well.
Yeah, so I started with just regular smartphones. I had a smartphone, like remember I told you my Avalanche, I had a laptop, and I actually had a cell phone docked in there so I could tether to it. Physically tether to it. That's what tether means. It was hooked to it with a serial cable or something, or USB.
You didn't have Bluetooth in your Avalanche?
No. Nope. It was like a Qualcomm, like whatever, I don't know. And it had black and white screen. Antenna, you know, you pull out the antenna, okay? That's where we're at here.
That's where technology was.
Yeah. So then I was going to AT&T, and I was excited for this Windows phone that was going to come out that like you could pop open, you could rotate it, and it was like color. And I was like, this is amazing. And I happened to be up in Minnesota again, and I was at an AT&T store there in Rochester, and we went in, there was an iPhone booth, and you know, it's like, oh, the iPhone's like all by itself, everything's clean, it just says iPhone. And I was like, okay, I'll go look at it. There's like a line to see it. There was only one in the store, and you had to wait in line.
Just to look at it.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for the line. I think I had broken line, and I was over looking at the dream phone that I wanted. And I'm over looking at it, and I go back to the iPhone, or I go to the iPhone, and I'm like, oh, text messaging. I'm like, boop, and I'm like, whew. And I was like, home screen. I was like, you know, website. Whew. I was like, this is so smooth and simple and clean. I went back to the Windows phone. I was like, you know, you rotate it, and like the screen would like resize itself as it tried to rotate, and icons would load. And I was like, I'm going for the iPhone. It was $600 back then for a 4 gig. There was no picture messaging.
4 gigs.
Yeah, there's no picture messaging. Could not record videos. There was no app store. You could not swipe, scroll. I mean, it was just very basic, very basic. So the Apple iPhone school thing is, somebody had mentioned to me that you could hack them, or it was called jailbreaking, to get them out, jailbreak them out of their software. And so I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to do that as a $600 phone, which is very odd back then. And to have a phone that expensive today, we just don't think that's a big deal. But
yeah.
And so the guy's like, oh, you can just erase it and then reload the software. Like, you can back it up and it's totally fine. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll try it. And I did. And then there's these guys were making apps and making an app store before Apple did, and making it do things that it couldn't do, like record video or something. And so I was like, wow, this is amazing. So then people were like, well, how do you do that? And I was like, well, let's show you. So I've always tried to make different websites that do different things where I can make money, because I've always seen people make a bunch of money online and YouTube videos or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, try this. And that was one of the things I tried. And we actually, for probably 7 years or so, I can't remember how many years, but my wife basically made a second income doing it. I ended up teaching her how to hack them, and how, not to create the hacks, but how to install them, and how to just basically test them, and just built a whole online community basically, and podcasts and everything. And
wow.
Then when we started having kids, it was a little hard to keep up. So, but yeah, that was fun.
Because I think I have seen on your Twitter account that says founder of Apple iPhone School.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, what is this?
Yeah,
I think I clicked a link and it took me to either nowhere or something that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So.
Fun times.
Back in the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that the iPhone does now that those hackers built, that Apple was like, oh, people like that, we're going to make it better, and make it do it. Like take a picture with the volume button, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The shutter button, or the light, turning your flash into a flashlight. Those were all just things that, even that, obviously the App Store. Like when you used to swipe, when it was hacked, you swiped up to get to other pages. Well, Apple just swiped the other way,
yeah,
and made pages or whatever. So video backgrounds and all kinds of crazy things. Nobody really does it much anymore because Apple's added it all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
It's fun.
Well, let's move on to our next sauce. This is the...
We're halfway.
Yeah, we're halfway. So things only get uncomfortable from here. We were just playing around. We were just having fun.
Yeah.
We were just eating wings together,
right
and now it's not going to be fun anymore.
And this is the new one?
Actually, yeah, this is one we haven't had before. This is the Scotch bonnet mustard.
Scotch?
So it's got
like
kind
Scotch
of,
like the liquor.
Well, there's actually a pepper called the Scotch bonnet.
Okay. The bonnet.
But, yeah. But it's got kind of a mustardy flavor, yeah.
Okay.
And it's good. This one I think was still kind of fun. The next three, they're not quite as fun.
Okay, we'll see. Mustard and hot stuff doesn't sound like fun. It's not a bad mustard. You know, some mustards are like cheap taste.
This is the first time I've had it on a wing, actually. It's good. I feel like it's not as hot on the wing as it was when I tried it on some other stuff. I had it on like some pork the other day.
I feel it coming. Sweating again. But it's still not destroying my tongue. So
yeah.
I think only cheap hot stuff destroys my tongue. You know, like those fire Doritos?
Oh, yeah.
That stuff just kills my tongue.
Well, this is the highest quality hot sauce. Best hot sauce money can buy,
my nose
for
is
sure.
Here we go.
So, at this point...
Why are you laughing, Jared?
At this point, halfway, we're just over halfway through the show. We're continuing the Hot Ones tradition of doing a deep dive on our guests' social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, all that. So we have a few photos that we're going to put up on the screen, and all we need is for you to just give us a little context. What is the photo of? What's happening? Just give us the story behind the photo. So if we could...
oh, yeah.
Is that you?
That's me. My hoodie is kind of like, flying in the air. I still have that hoodie. I wear it when we have bonfires at our house. That's what it always smells.
Is that
that's
the youth room?
Basement. That's the youth room, when there used to be windows over there and stuff like that. So that's kind of a weak one. I had Joe pull up another one, I believe. That one's better.
There we go.
That was during staff photos. You can see as I aged that the arch starts to begin, because I have some photos of me, like at my wedding, in this room, actually, completely straight across.
Really?
But as I'm getting older here, it's not getting going.
So you are secretly a very flexible person.
Yeah, I don't know how I figured that out.
Were you a gymnast growing up?
I was a wrestler, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. I was the mascot. So.
The mascot for
high school.
High school.
That was a panther. So I'd have to like hold the head on and do a one-sided toe touch because the hat would fall off. So the head, yeah. I don't know how I figured that. Oh, I was on the trampoline. We had a trampoline on the growing up, you know.
So you figured out you could do the old toe touch.
Yeah. That's one of them.
What's our next photo? Okay. This looks like a jar full of fungus.
It probably is. Yeah. So yeah, I anything that's new to me is interesting. It doesn't matter what scope it is or what genre or anything. If it's new, I'm just like, I want to figure this out. I want to learn. I want to know more about it. So somehow on YouTube, I found a guy called Life in Jars, and he basically just goes around to water areas around his where he lives and just scoops stuff out of the water and then closes the lid and then sees what happens. And the goal is to get a living ecosystem that can last for a couple of years and never opening it, because there's enough oxygen coming off the plants and there's enough carbon dioxide coming off the animals, and they eat each other and they live in this ecosystem. The only energy you get is the sun. So what I'm learning is, like, this jar is not a good jar because it's a canning jar and it actually lets air out as it heats up, and then as it cools, the lid seals and then it stays sealed. Well, you can't boil this or kill the animals, so I can't. So I've had to use some other jars and learning. One of them right now has like tadpoles in it that we got from Margot Frankel. So about half of them are dead. Half of my jars are dead and half of them are still going. There's microorganisms in there and things I've never seen in my life, and I just every day just like go in there and look at them and
just looking at your jars.
Yeah, there's like a whole other world in there, and that's just like literally. I've scooped that out one time, and there was like millions of tiny little white things. I don't even know what they are. Just like zipping all over the place. I'm like, that lake is. I don't want to swim in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Don't want to dip in there.
Ecosphere. That's what it's called.
It's not a sphere.
No, it's not. Sweating a little bit still.
Do we have one more photo?
Yeah.
Okay. This looks like an Apple Watch, but not.
No.
But not. What is this?
No. So, I don't know if they did this before the Apple Watch. I think they did. Yeah. Pebble, which was a company, created this. It's called an e-ink display. So it's kind of like what's the tablets, Amazon, Kindle.
Kindle.
Okay, so e-ink, which is basically magnet, black or white, turns on or off, gets white or black. Okay, so this one had the ability to do color e-ink, and it's basically a smartwatch that would hook to your phone. You could do all kinds of things with it. And this actual one, my son accidentally lost during softball. So if you ever find it, somebody can give it back to me. But anyways, they got bought out by another company, which ended up getting bought out by Fitbit or something, or whoever owns Fitbit now. I don't even know. So, but yeah, it was basically like, I even bought it used, I think for like $60 or something like that. It was basically the smartwatch before that Apple Watch, which was actually pretty advanced for its day, in my opinion.
What kind of stuff could it do?
Well, you could get your text messages on it and calendar. Basically, it was mostly notifications. So as long as your apps could send the notification, you'd get the notification to your watch.
Okay.
You may not be able to like reply from it,
yeah,
or control things from it, but
sort of like a pager.
I had a pager.
It would tell you if something was happening, but right, you had no ability to do anything about it.
Yeah, and my pager basically just did phone numbers. So my nose is running. It's coming. Getting hotter.
That's the Scotch bonnet doing its work.
It's brewing. It's brewing. I can feel them all just brewing.
It's brewing. Well, this next one's been brewing for a while. It's the Headless horseradish. And it's got a little bit of ghost pepper in this puppy too. So
I do like horseradish.
As do I, which is why I got this one actually. So we're getting near the end. You'll have to tell me if this one, the flavor is still worth the spice.
Okay.
Or
because it gets to a point where you can't taste anymore.
Yeah, the last two are no bueno.
Okay. That means not good.
It does.
Here's a quick fact for you. I took Spanish for 4 years in high school. And had Hispanics working at our car lot, so I know a lot of Spanish. But the secret to the story is I took Spanish 1 3 times until I passed it. Then I took Spanish 4 with all the 10th graders, or Spanish 2 with all the 10th graders.
Nice. Well,
is this gonna come later or what?
You're not getting any of the heat? You better find a saucy bite there. Jared, did you not sauce that one up enough?
It might come here.
In charge of sauce.
No, I think you were doing most of the
Maybe I'm better at hot stuff than I thought I was.
Maybe you are.
Next to her.
So, speaking of quick facts like that, I wanted to take a minute to give you the opportunity to just give us some of those quick hitting facts, because I feel like there's so many facets of Doug Porter that we just
weird ones, right?
We don't know, and we want to. I mean, everybody knows you're the tech guy. You know, some people know you like motorcycles or just Apple products or whatever. Yeah. But what are some of those other sort of quick, interesting facts, little-known facts about Doug Porter?
Okay, I wrote a few down, but I probably forgot a bunch, or maybe I've already said a few. I talked about my tongue. It's weird, I know, gross. I'm not going to show you, but it's gross. My geographical tongue, or whatever it's called. I still own my first car. So my grandpa was a car dealer. Remember, I worked for him. But while I was in high school, he bought me and my cousin he got a '69 Buick Grand Sport with a 400 in it, and I got a 1974 Plymouth Fury with a 400, both 2-doors, both quite fast. Mine only had like 70,000 miles on it, and this was in 1998. So, and it was a '74. So, it was in like mint. Perfect condition. Now it's like, you know, it's all the paint's been stripped off of it and put in black primer, and it's been sitting outside for a long time, but still got that car in my garage right now next to my motorcycle. I don't know how I got my wife to do that. She has to park outside now. I'm really sorry, honey.
The car that you never drive is sitting in your garage.
Well, my grandpa had it for a long time while he had a car lot. Now he doesn't need one, and doesn't need a lot, so now I have to store it. So I lived on a farm in high school. So tech guy, lived on a farm, like rode a horse, scooped calf pen poop, and baled hay all summer.
Yeah, you don't strike me as the farmer type.
Yeah,
but
I went hunting and fishing with my dad and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't do that now, but I know how to. And like, yeah, still go to my dad's, and he's got like deer hanging in his garage, and got some, and yeah. So,
deer that you killed?
Nope.
Oh,
no, him. No, and his friends. Yeah. I have a tattoo, which probably a lot of people see it, but they don't really know why I have a tattoo. So
is that Tigger?
That's Tigger. And when I was 18, I was living with my dad. My parents were divorced, so when I lived with my dad, when I went back to visit my mom, she has tattoos, and she's like, "Hey, I'll get you a tattoo." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then we went to the tattoo place, and the guy was like, yeah, I guess I could squeeze you in. I just did this big tattoo for this guy, and I got another one coming, but if you can pick something real quick. I was like, okay, well, I was a Christian in high school, and I didn't want to, I was doing stupid stuff, but I also was like, but I don't want to have a bad testimony. I was like living on the fence all the time, back and forth. And so I was like, I can't get a tattoo that's just like bad in any way. So, and I was like really wild in high school. Like, I was voted most school spirit because I was the mascot and most fun and biggest flirt. So I was just like obnoxious. And so I was like, Tigger's obnoxious, and nobody can say anything bad about that. Like, I don't have to worry about like skulls and like all that kind of stuff. So that's what I got.
So you got a Tigger tattoo.
Yeah.
When you were 18.
Yep. I worked at an eBay store, which is not owned by eBay, but like sold people stuff on eBay. I got kicked off the computers in high school because they didn't have computers. So when they first got the first computers in the library, I was in there like getting on AOL chat and like going on all these websites and getting all these apps on there, and they were like, whoa, what are you doing? And they got scared of me, so they like banned me from there. And then a teacher shortly after that wanted email, and so I hooked her phone into the computer's modem and like got like Juno email for her and got her in trouble. And so yeah, I used to get in trouble in school for computers. Speaking of Jared, who's behind the camera over here, I've been to Brazil 4 times. So twice for like spring breakish type stuff, and then as my life got better, I went for missions. One time with the missions team with Lucas, and then another time Jared's parents brought me down just because of all the stuff that happened with his dad, and helping them through all that with technology. They brought me down. I have my grandpa and my dad are both drywallers, so they drywalled. That's what they did for their living all the time. And I was always like, am I gonna grow up to be a drywaller? Like, no offense, I mean, I went and worked with them all the time, but it was like, I like technology, I don't like this stuff. And my dad was super cool about it. He didn't know anything about technology, like literally knew nothing. When he got like his first cell phone, I was like, you have a cell phone? Like that kind of guy. But he was always like, if that's what you wanna do, he bought me a computer when I was a kid and it was behind me. So that's just kind of a weird, interesting thing. And something I wrote down is I was in more schools than grades by 7th grade. So
really?
rough childhood. We moved around all the time. Ankeny, Des Moines. I've been to almost all of the schools in both districts. And it was rough. But that caused me to be a people person because I had to make new friends all the time, which is weird as a tech guy. So then when I went to high school in Minnesota, I stayed through the whole, which I really loved. But yeah, that's some of my quick ideas.
Awesome. Well, thanks for giving us.
Did you know any of those already?
Only the ones that you told me, like
yesterday.
In our preparation for this. I did know that you'd been to Brazil quite a few times. I didn't know 4 exactly, but I knew you'd been down there at least a couple times.
It's great.
I like Brazil too.
Yeah.
So
you've been, how many times have you been?
Once.
What? Aren't you married to a Brazilian?
I am, and still only been once. But it was an awesome trip. Let's move on to the garlic reaper sauce.
Garlic reaper.
Yeah, see if you can find a really saucy bite.
Which side? You pick. That side or that side?
They both look good. Maybe one from each.
Okay, one from each. All right. Jared's laughing. My nose is already running.
Pumping his fist over here.
There's like, take it up a notch or something, or what?
Well, yes. Yes, it does.
So I've always been afraid of hot stuff, so I've only gone to a certain level of heat. I have this feeling that I can just handle anything, because this isn't bad.
It's not phasing you at all, huh?
Well, I think it will in a minute. I know how some of these work. They just kind of slowly...
See, when I first took a bite, I was fine too.
Oh yeah, the right side of my tongue's...
But I will say it's definitely more in the throat for me right now, so... Because I'll start like coughing after having some really spicy.
Oh yeah, I just took a breath in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's these last two where it starts to get painful to speak. So we'll try and keep these questions just quick.
Yep. Quick
hits here. So you are someone who's on the cutting edge of technology. And there have been times, I remember you were talking to us months ago, maybe like years ago even, about TikTok.
Yeah.
And you were saying TikTok's gonna be the next big social media thing. And now everybody and their mom's on TikTok. All the high schoolers were like, we don't do TikTok, TikTok's lame. And you're like, just you wait, and now they're all on TikTok.
Yep.
So you're known for some of these amazing predictions. What has been your most proud moment of being like the hipster that discovers something and you knew it was cool before it was cool?
It was cool before it was cool. Well, the iPhone, I mean, that was one. I had the first iPhone, and it was, you know, people didn't have iPhones at all. There were Android phones, and everybody hated them because back then the batteries were just... You just taking drinks already?
There's no rule about it.
My eyes are watering, dude.
You can drink your milk.
Let's see. I want to, but I just want to see if I can make it to the end. I'm trying to think of like...
I already did that with John Nemmers. I have nothing left to prove.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always trying, especially around here, trying to be ahead of things. Like, so there's a company called Blackmagic that makes a lot of our video switching equipment, and when they first started making cheap stuff, I was like, yeah, let's get it and try it and see if it works. And like one of them fried once, and you know, and so like I remember, you guys remember Flip Video? It was a video camera that was like just a tiny little box and had USB that flipped out on the side. It was like super cheap and you could make videos with it. And we were like, so we had one around here. It was just like before your phone could record video. I had the first point and shoot that was like, or I mean like SLR camera that was under $1,000 because back then when digital cameras first came out with lenses, they were super expensive and nobody had them. And so I was just like, yeah, let's get one. I remember it like actually got stolen from here once after Vacation Bible School and then brought back, and it still, like, eventually the trigger had quit working because we'd used it so much. Like,
wow.
Well, the watch was one-ish. I mean, before the Apple Watch got really popular. I don't know, even the coronavirus, I was watching that before it hit here, and I was like ready to do this beforehand. I just am like, I don't know, I'm interested in anything like that. I have just, did you already ask the second part of the question of like what my predictions are for the future?
No.
No, you were going to ask that though, weren't you?
You're just a modern day prophet.
I just predicted what you were going to ask me. Did you see that?
Can you make a prediction for us right now?
Well, so my thing that I think, or I really want, is a contact lens that basically runs off the energy of your body. So it would eat like sugar like the rest of your cells do. And energy that way, that would basically be some type of heads-up display. So you know how like Google came out with their glasses that were really ugly and stupid, and I think Apple's trying to make something like that because I think that's the next thing is more integrating with your body. The watch already does a lot of stuff, but being able to monitor your health and all that kind of stuff, I think a contact lens could do that. It could monitor. Somebody's already got one that can like monitor your blood sugar level, which would help diabetics. But if you could like have a heads-up display, so when you walked around, you could like see a map drawn on the floor, or like a little thing above your head with your name, so I Face ID, and I would know who you were.
Like battery life.
Anything, yeah. I don't know. Like, I'd love all that information and be able to integrate with my body technology as safe as you could possibly can. So,
how far do you think we are from that type of technology?
Contact lens, or just more integration with our body?
Contact lens.
I think that's a ways. 20 years. I think energy in general in technology is like frozen right now. We can't figure out how to make things last longer. Like if we can break that barrier, our phones will last for a month, or you know, that you could get something that would just last a year, and you could put it in your body or whatever.
Without having to charge it or something. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're down to the Mad Dog Reserve Inferno. And it's tradition around here on the last wing to put a little extra on the last wing. So this one, we'll be sure that you get a good mouthful of sauce.
I need to get my like donut ready. Yeah, I heard that helps.
That's your lifeline.
I can feel sweat coming down off my forehead. Is there like, is it bleeding?
Yeah. Can we zoom in on Doug's forehead?
There's nobody advocating, but yeah, I'm going to do what my wife hates. Just get it all over my hand. Look at it glisten.
Look at that glisten.
Dang.
So I'll let you put however much you dare. You don't have to.
Does it really matter? I mean, once you get a certain amount on there, it's just going to kill you, right?
Yeah.
Is there like a warning on this?
There are warning labels on this particular hot sauce.
Shake well and refrigerate after opening.
But turn it around to the other side. I think there's
oh, there's like a long list.
Oh yeah. It says like
an agree. It says I agree. I agree is indicated by opening this bottle. It's really small font, and I'm getting to that age you have to pull it away. But you opened the bottle, not me.
So you haven't agreed. But I think one of the warnings on there is if I give this to someone else, I promise to share.
Warn them ahead of time.
Warn them. Give them the information they need.
Is that fair? Does that look fair?
Oh yeah. All right. That's enough to nearly kill you.
My wife said she's going to be really mad at you if you kill me from this. I said, if Pastor made it through,
then we're fine.
I should survive.
Do we want to toast the wing? Best of luck to you, Doug. Best of luck to us both.
What if I just didn't do it?
Dirtbag.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
That was John Leonard's great quote. What's the matter, Beth? Okay.
That's not good.
My price is predicting you'll do Jethro's on Thursday.
Okay. For a period of your life, you live streamed everything. You live streamed your whole life, basically.
I did.
What were some of the most, first of all, why? And then,
Here, look.
Yep.
It's pouring.
Why did you do that?
Why did I do that?
And what were some of the most personal things that you shared during that time?
Okay, so I have a screenshot that I found on the Google. This is Justin TV. It was a guy who had a backpack with a laptop in it and camera on his hat, and he just wore it around all the time. And he like showed the behind the scenes of all the coding and web, and that's hot, dude. And my eyes are watering. Anyway, so he opened it up. He's like, I was watching it, talking to the coders, doing all the behind the scenes stuff and spying on him and all that stuff. Woo, that's hot.
Yeah.
That is way different than all of them. You could add all those together to me, and that's more than all of them combined.
Well, we did
pour some on it. That helps a lot. That's the killer right there. Anyways, you could sign up and throw your pitch on why you wanted to be one of the first 10 people to join him. And I was like, there's all these people on here. You can see like, I don't know if she's on here, but Justine was one of them. That's how she got kind of famous. Naked Cowboy, which is a guy that plays guitar in New York Square. People probably have heard of him before. How long does this one last? Like an hour?
Too long. We should be okay by the time we're done.
Okay. So my pitch was, hey, we're a family. We were like the only married couple. We have a little baby, and we're Christians, and so you can see the life into a Christian. And they're like, sure. So I was on there with them. We live streamed. We did Bible studies on there. People made fun of us big time. We got hacked by 4chan once, which was like an online community that like purposely went around like just pestering people. We were actually at Cafe DM Live one time, and they just came in by like the thousands and were just like spamming the chat. And, like,
really?
So it was kind of scary. We had people who were kind of like, yeah, we're not going to hang out with you because we don't want some murderer to come and like find you online because they're stalking you, you know. Which was because back then people didn't just have social media. I mean, people weren't even on Facebook. They were like, Facebook? I don't want all my information out there. So to just jump to live streaming your life all the time was pretty insane. But our whole goal was like, we wanted to see that Christians can be normal. Christians just run around and do the same thing normal people do. We just have a different worldview and why we do things. And so we were like, this is worth it. This is worth sharing with people what it can be like to be a Christian, and that was our purpose. So yeah, and then basically they opened it up to the whole world, and people started doing stupid crap on it. And we're like, yeah, we don't want to be on there with all this. This is not a good idea. So we quit doing it. Plus with the baby. One time Denver like fell over, like sitting as a baby, just fell over backwards, and it scared him, and I was kind of like laughing, like, you're okay, it's okay, buddy. And I sat him back up, and people were like, you're so mean, you laughed when he cried. And I was like, okay, we're out of here. Like, this is not a good idea. So
well, Doug,
it's getting better.
It is better because you did it. 8 wings up, 8 wings down. You conquered the gauntlet. How do you feel?
I feel better than I thought I would feel. That one, though, is brutal. Just a one. I think like my armpits are sweating, and I never sweat. Like,
the last 2 are definitely no joke. If you would have dabbed the last one, it would have been a similar outcome, I think. But yeah, it really coats the tongue and the throat, and
it got everything.
And then
I was sweating, eyes were watering, nose running, mouth, lips.
So now we can have a celebratory donut, which really I've found helps ease the pain quite well.
I gotta wipe my nose one more time. We didn't get nobody wrote any comments bad. Nobody was mean to us. Nobody said nothing, huh? All positive.
Your wife just sent 3 laughing faces. when you had taken a bite of the mad dog.
Thanks, hon. Look at, we have, I'm impressed we have the same donut.
Matching donuts.
Yeah, I don't think that helps. I don't know if that helps or hurts.
Really?
It's something I never mentioned is like I have like an overactive nervous system. And it includes sugar and pain and spice and everything. I just feel like it magnifies it by like 1,000.
Really?
So sugar, I think, is making it worse, maybe.
Really?
But this is a good donut.
I'm glad you think so. Shout out Highland Park Bakery.
Yeah, Highland Park, right down the street. We used to go there with
Yeah.
my grandpa as a kid. Right down the road.
Well, Doug, you're a legend. You definitely handled this better than Jared. And
it hurts right now, though.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you liked this interview, if you liked watching us cry and Doug sweat, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and join us next time for Saylorville Students Hot Ones. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, I need more of this donut in my life.
That is probably the it's probably the hottest thing I've ever had.
Do you want to share it to the store? Don't wipe your forehead.
Sure, yeah. Don't wipe my forehead yet? Is it sweating still? So one time in we went to the Think conference, I think it was called, or it's John Piper's conference. And Pastor Pat couldn't go because he had to do a funeral, so I took his spot. And we went to the cities. Twin Cities is where it was at. Oh yeah, it's glistening. And I got a salad or something stupid.
God.
Yeah, Desiring God, but it was called Think that year. Anyways, I got some kind of salad, and it had some onion or spice in it that when I must have bit my tongue at the same time on the corner and got in and it would not go away. It lasted like an hour, and I was like,
Oh my.
Yeah.
nothing I could.
Some good shots.
Oh!
Portrait mode. That's a good one.
That was good. And it was like killer, just killer. I could not get it to go away. It was so hot.
Boom. Bud, are you?
I watched my dad do it once. He was eating pizza at like Pizza Hut, and you know those peppers, the little red peppers that you can sprinkle on with the Parmesan cheese. But he bit into one at the tip of his tongue and broke one open, and he just poured sweat. And he can eat hot stuff like this, like I can. And I was like scared. We were like thinking we were gonna have to take him to the hospital because he turned completely red and was just dying. That last one was definitely hot.
Medium.
Yeah, bud. Yeah, bud.